Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Let's give maybe 30 seconds for everyone else to join, and we can proceed. Okay, all right. I think it's time. Again, hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's a beautiful day, and let's talk about some RCA and migrations. So what we're gonna cover today is, first of all, why now or not now, maybe. What does CPQ end of sales means, what it means for your roadmap. We'll go through the RCA overview, what's the key capabilities of RCA. We'll show also a short demo. For everyone who has used CPQ before, you will see quite a difference in the look and feel of the two tools right now. We'll cover CPQ to RCA migration, how to plan the migration, how to execute it, and the most common mistakes that could happen in those projects. We already identified them, can share it with you and tell how to avoid them. Best practices, so what good migration patterns look like, and at the end of the day, how we can support your migration and future-proof your revenue stack. So before, yes, we will have a recording after the webinar, and we can share it as well. So in the meantime, please feel free to write the questions. We have quite a packed agenda, let's say, so we will try to answer as soon as possible. And if we will not be able to address something, we will have some time at the end for a Q&A session. All right, so let's start maybe with a short introduction, who we are, why are we qualified to talk about that. My name is Anna. I'm a Revenue Business Unit Manager in Cloudity. So I'm overseeing the Revenue Cloud projects and a cooperation with our revenue customers. And today here with me is Konrad. Konrad,
yeah, thank you, Anna. I'm Konrad, and probably most of you will wonder about technical aspects of migrations, how to do it properly. So there I come, and today I will have a pleasure to guide you through this technical side of things here.
Thank you. So we are Cloudity. Cloudity is part of Fortis Group. We're a Salesforce partner since 2014 now, I think. Counting over 350 Salesforce experts across our Polish, German, French offices, Stockholm. We have cross-cloud expertise and delivered over 1,000 projects already. And on the right side, you can see also some of our customers' logos, potentially maybe recognizable for you. And we offer a full range of services from advisory, architectural guiding to full implementations, migration, support, maintenance, all of that. And specifically, Revenue Cloud, so our practice experience, zooming in on it, it was always one of our main focuses. We've been early in CPQ and became a billing partner the year billing was released, and we've successfully delivered tens of projects right now covering both Salesforce CPQ and billing as RCA and RCB so far. And again, a few customers testifying for the quality we deliver is on the right. So now, I will give, about the Revenue Cloud, maybe before I give the stage to Konrad, to kind of cover the products right now, right? So before we've had RCA, RCB, we've had a couple of different products separately licensed. So CPQ, billing, contract management, subscription management, all of those were separate products combined in a way. And CPQ and billing were managed packages. Right now, those are replaced with Revenue Cloud Advanced or RLM or ARM or whatever it will be called in the near future, plus Revenue Cloud Billing. And what's important here is CPQ billing, basically the whole kind of old stock is end of sales. But what does it mean? It's not equal end of life, not equal end of support. Right? End of sales mean that for the new customers, those old products will not be offered. Only the RCA and RCB basically are the options. But the existing customers can still renew their licenses and can still kind of take their time to decide whether to migrate to RCA, RCB, or maybe some completely different tool out of the platform. So to talk a little bit more about what RCA really is, I can give the stage to Konrad. And yeah, please tell us more.
Yeah, thank you, Ania. So in general, what is Revenue Cloud Advanced? It's one unified platform where you are able to build entire revenue lifecycle. So why it matters for you? Because, for example, for manufacturing industry, where you deal with quotes, you want to have quotes faster and later without any errors, which cause, for example, by switching between back and forth different systems. When you want to deliver order and do the order fulfillment in the correct way, thanks to RCA, you can do so. And taking also software as a service companies, where you very often dealing with the subscriptions, usage, one time as a payments, this is natively supported together with RCA and RCB. So again, this is something which can support your business instead of creating data silos and integrating a couple of systems to achieve the common flow here. But it's not only limited to these functionalities, it's worth to also consider the full stack, which is available here. So Ania said on a previous slide that before RCA, there was a set of packages like for CPQ and billing, which you need to buy, install, and integrate sometimes with each other or with other systems. Now you have one common platform where you can build your catalog, you can configure your deals, you can go with approvals. Even if you want to, you can create the contracts and go with approvals of them. And thanks to Revenue Cloud Billing together with RCA, you can handle invoice scheduling, payments, invoice generation, dunning, and other processes which are still common on the one platform. So that's the full, and that's why the Revenue Cloud Advanced is so innovative right now. But I want to show how this works in practice. So I will switch to my org. Where we can see sample quotes. So this is the first screen where your sales reps start your working. Instead of doing this in a spreadsheet or maybe in the older UI in CPQ, you are able to just hit the browse catalog button, and then thanks to this graphical representation, graphical interface, you are able to select the products which you need and which you want to offer to your client, right? So products can be divided into catalogs which make sense for you. So like the software catalog or hardware catalog, service catalog. This is some examples of the catalogs which you can invent, and together with us, we can decide on the best fit here. And when you will choose the hardware catalog, you are able right away to select what products you want to offer. So you can select the desktop or headset or keyboard and manipulate the quantities if needed. And of course, there is not only that thing, because for laptops, you're able to also configure the attributes, because laptops very often are not a simple stuff, right? So we have the attributes which can describe your product, like the graphics, memory, processor in this example. And thanks to RCA, you're able just selecting a couple of options on the one screen just to select what is necessary to be delivered for your client. If you also want to understand how your selection here just influence the pricing, you can enable such an option here like instant pricing, which will give you the opportunity to run the Revenue Cloud pricing engine and just show you how the total price look like. And if you are happy with the overall configuration, you can just save this, and also selecting this final items to quote, it will be applied. And here is something which, again, Revenue Cloud engine supports you. So the product will be recalculated. It will be put back to the quote line item, and you are ready to understand what happened behind the scenes. So, for example, where the keyboard or headset are placed here, we can just using this functionality understand how the price are calculated here. So we could clearly see here that it's taken from the price book, but if we want to apply the discount, like doing this, putting some number like 10 and selecting that we want to apply the discount percent, we can save it, and then the system will do the calculation for us. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, the price was changed, and that's right now we can understand why this price is different, because the discount price was applied. And if we are able to go forward and configure the order, we need to figure out what is wrong here. So RCA also give you a warning in some cases where your products have some missing attributes, missing parameters, or missing other important things that needs to be configured here. So we can right away from this screen go back to our configuration and check what is missing here. So we see that we miss here the storage and screen size, and we can easily fulfill that. And after save, we should be ready to go forward and create an order just using one click. So right now, after recalculation of this, we are able to, using dedicated action, create order and then send order to our fulfillment system, or even to the invoice processing if there is such a need, right? So here we can select single order creation, and when we'll hit the finish button, the order will be created automatically for us. So that's how the basic scenario in RCA looks in practice. And let's back to our presentation, because we'll tell you together with Anya more about how to migrate to this new world.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to be honest, it's just, everyone was waiting for this UI for a long time. I remember my customer mentioning to me that, the old configurator in CPQ looked like, a bookkeeping system that he was working in the 90s. So yeah, finally looks much better than it did before. So how to migrate to the RCA. But also maybe before we go into that, I want to share with you a little bit as well why, our own why. So why are we investing in migrations? And on one side, we have a Salesforce product strategy, right? And let's be real, RCA is the future of revenue management in Salesforce. This is the main product already. Salesforce heavily invests in its development. So this is a direction that customer finally will be taking. And we want to guide them through every step of this journey. And on the other hand, every CPQ customer will have to make a decision shortly, right? So either to migrate to RCA or migrate to some external tool. And when this decision is taken, the 4 things that would be mainly considered is, cost, time, risks, platform capabilities. We cannot influence the latter, but we can influence the first 3. And we've talked a little bit about our experience with revenue in general. We do know CPQ, we do know billing in depth, all the ins and outs, and now we know RCA and RCB already too. We know what works, what doesn't, all of the quirks. We've pretty much seen it all at this point, right? And this is exactly the knowledge you need really grasp how to execute this migration. And at the end of the day, those are not easy projects, anything but easy. Scope-wise, for the most part, it is a re-implementation project, which means it is costly and it has risks kind of by definition. And so naturally, we wanted to have this know-how allowing us to proceed with those projects and succeed in those projects even before we actually start them, right? To be able to deliver them kind of smoother in a bit of a safer way. And yeah, the last reason really, we've got just tons of questions about how those migrations could look like, right? Can it be automated? Can it be migrated in phases? Can I use both CPQ and RCA in parallel? Yeah, and finally, should I migrate right now or in the year 2-5 for now? What's the right roadmap for me? And to answer this question, I'd say here are 5 questions that you need to answer to understand whether it's worth to migrate right now or wait a little bit for later. So first, is your current setup working well, or are there any pain points to be addressed? Because if there are, the ROI of developing CPQ versus migrating to RCA, it should be evaluated, because at this point, it might not really make sense to invest in CPQ anymore. Second, do you want to leverage AI, right? That doesn't really work with CPQ. You can try, can jump through some hoops, but this is a good reason to look at RCA because it was built intentionally with AI support in mind. Third, do you want to handle use cases previously unsupported by CPQ or billing? Right, a couple of simple examples, let's say self-service. Right, wasn't really possible with CPQ without, again, jumping through some major hoops. And it is possible right now. We've achieving that in one of our projects by using RCA with B2B commerce. And for the billing use cases, for example, Salesforce billing, it was a good product, but it was pretty simple, pretty straightforward with kind of very limited customizations. And now RCB can handle much more kind of advanced use cases, right? For example, the consumption-based products are just handled much better. The next one is how extensive is your current CPQ billing implementation, right? Because it gives us an idea of the scope to be migrated. And if you have a huge enterprise implementation on hand, the initial scope, let's say, took 2 years to implement, then you're more likely also to have some kind of mess in your data, some additional customizations, and the migration project in the end will just be bigger as well, right? So plus it always takes some time to think about it, to budget it, to allocate the resources, to clean the data, to prepare for the project, to execute the project, and then ideally you still want to have some buffer before CPQ becomes unsupported, right? So for some companies, we're talking about a few year-long process if executed correctly. Right? And the last one, and it's not really here to induce the panic, but just to be considered, is: are you willing to risk waiting, knowing that there are some trade-offs coming with this decision, right? And it's not only about kind of the innovation coming with the Revenue Cloud. Of course, it looks nice, it's bright and shiny, but there are additional 2 things, right? One, with every year, there will be simply less and less consultants with CPQ knowledge. It is what it is. No one is going to learn CPQ anymore. The attention of partners also switched to RCA, so the expert pool is kind of naturally shrinking. While again, to execute those migrations, it's ideal that you have good understanding of both those. And the second one are just the licenses, right? At the moment, Salesforce has this promo, which allows you to switch to RCA, pay only for the RCA licenses, but keep both CPQ and RCA, and as well, of course, Salesforce billing and RCB for a few years, right? Which gives you this time to really plan and execute this migration in a more kind of relaxed way in your kind of tempo. We cannot really say how long CPQ is still here to stay. So if you are an end user here, please contact your account executive. Maybe they will be able to tell more whether this promo is extended to the next year. We have no idea, waiting for this information as well. So yeah, this is something definitely to be considered still. Okay, and then I think, Konrad, I will give stage back to you, so you can tell us a little bit more about, on a high level, how do we approach the migration.
Yeah, thank you, Anya. So we divide our migration projects into 3 steps from high-level perspective, right? So we start with assess, where we just, thanks to our tool, run the health score to understand what you have currently in your CPQ implementation. So which things we should take care and migrate forward, which things we should completely together rebuild, and which things we should read off. So taking the tool and taking our guide here, we will get the recommendation, and you will understand on that level if it's worth to transition to RCA or not. Then if you decide to go with the transition, and there's a plan phase where we help you to just map your CPQ current features to RCA solution. And we also look on what is missing right now for you in CPQ and what can be built on the top of the migration, right? So the new features, which Anya at least mentioned, we can consider as something to be added. We also need to decide about strategy, and I will tell more about strategy in a while, but right now, the thing here is that we need to choose if we will go with a phased approach, or maybe with a new org, or maybe with a big bang. This is something which we need to plan carefully. And the last step of this part is to build a project plan. So for you to understand the roadmap, the effort timeline, the user stories and solution design, just the future state, how this will work in future in RCA. And then, of course, the execute phase, which is the most intensive one, where we build configuration, we together do the data migration, we do the feature migration, and of course, you have a chance to test and validate if new system just meet your business needs. If you want, you can provide the feedback, we can adjust to your expectation. So that's all about this phase. And here is worth to mention that during that 3 steps, we give you clearly guidance and we work hand by hand just to deliver the project. We're not giving you only the documents and you need to take care on your own. So we're working together as a partners. But in general, what the assess in practice means. So Anya, back to you about migration cases.
Yeah, so where do we usually start with the planning? What we recommend is to start with the migration case, right? So this is, and its intention is kind of to answer all of those questions that you might have, right? So should I migrate? Should I phase it? How do I do it? Kind of before you really jump like deep into the project. And this is something we can help you with, right? So looking at what we usually offer. As an unpaid service, we can execute the survey, prepare the health score of current CPQ setup using our in-house build tool, which will give you kind of the health score and recommendation to what you have. But we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. We will identify your main challenges. And one of the most important parts probably is what we want to do is suggest to you improvements that are enabled by RCA. Because CPQ wasn't covering all of the functionalities that RCA does. So what we usually do is kind of trying to get rid of all of this tech debt, all of those customizations that you've built over the years, trying to kind of make CPQ work for you, because this is the case for a lot of customers. It is what it is. So we suggest some improvements, how we can map it to RCA in a better way. Then we prepare a demo if you want us to, and calculate the investment. So you have kind of good idea of how this project will look like. And as an additional paid services, if you need a customized demo, if you need a process map, if you need an executive-ready business case with KPIs, with kind of risk register, basically something that you can take to your board and explain to them how it will look like, why it's worth it. This is something that we can do additionally. You can just contact us about that. So yeah, regarding the health score, this is an interesting topic. I think, Konrad, you can tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned on the previous slide about health score, and this is how this works in practice. So we built kind of tool on the top of our SFTX hard disk implementation. We just integrate with your CPQ, do the necessary scans, fetch your data, fetch your configuration, and then produce kind of PDF, which tells you more about high level and the details. On the high level section, you have just a summary of your org. So you have the component types, which are important from CPQ point of view, like the product rules or pricing rules, sometimes code templates, sometimes summary variables. And you have a notes in general what these rules represent. So some of them can be active, some of them maybe are inactive, some of them are orphaned. So you have like clear view what happens behind the scenes. And then for each of the most important sections of CPQ, you will also find the dedicated section with our recommendation. So the set of the rules which we build together according to best practices which we can find in the documentation, and also our best practices which we observe and we implement during our our all implementations. And here you can clearly understand what needs to happen to be safe when we will be migrating. So maybe some price rules are inactive. Maybe some of them are active but are too complicated. This is the recommendation which you will find, and together we can decide if we will go with in general the rebuild, or maybe we will try to rid of such a thing. That's what this tool gives you in general, right? And it's worth also to mention, and Anya also mentioned about it, this tool is provided by us for you for free as a starting point. So there are no cost, no commitment. You can run such a health score on your own and decide what you do next, if you do with us or you try on your own. So that's about assessment. Anya, do you want to add something?
Yeah, exactly. Because this is why it is just worth it, right? It was our investment because we kind of wanted to, again, guide you through the whole process to understand where you stand right now and what should you do next, right? And even if the decision at the end is, I don't want to migrate at the moment because of whatever reasons, right? This is still a good thing to probably contact us, take a look at your health score, get some recommendation, and clean it up, because getting rid of the tech debt is always a good idea. And for all of the developers here, because I know there's quite a bit of technical people here as well today, SFTX hard disk, if you've heard about that before, is an open source tool. This is a tool that was built in Cloudity as well, and quite a lot of companies use that as an CI/CD tool. So just kind of build on top of it to be able to deliver this health score to our customers, to everyone interested.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you can proceed.
Yeah, we can proceed. So we discuss about assess. We show how our health score can help with assess. So right now, let's discuss about the planning. Because for planning, there is, as I said before, one like big decision to be taken together. Because taking different approaches into account, I believe there are no one right decision that every company can take here. So some of the companies, like enterprises, can start with a new product, maybe a new business unit or some channel, and build RCA and deploy RCA next to the CPQ. And this is, in our opinion, the best fit when we want to do it in an iterative way, right? Or we have the extensive migration scope. The second option is starting with new org, new fresh Salesforce Revenue Cloud Advanced org, because very often you struggle with your current CPQ implementation. The implementation is very heavy customized. There are a lot of gaps, a lot of missings, and maybe you want to stop yourself, think about the new way to go with and design it from scratch. So this is a very good option to start with a new fresh org. The third part of option here is about phased approach. So some of the companies are in general happy with CPQ and they want to start phasing and deploying RCA by phases just to let's say, open the new functionalities. So as an example, Anya provide you the example of Agentforce. So this approach can you help with understanding how the Agentforce AI can help together with RCA speed up some of your processes instead of going in a full phase. And the last last option here is about the flash cutoff. So it's great in general for small scope or limited complexity, where you have your current CPQ implementation, but in the meantime, you want to develop something new in RCA. And then during the go live phase, you will disable completely the CPQ and go with Revenue Cloud Advanced as a one go. So this is something which you can also take into consideration. But this option, as I said, you need to carefully think and decide what better fit for your business.
Yes, the last one usually not recommended pretty much to anyone, right? If we're talking about very small company, quite simple business, very limited complexity to be migrated, maybe generally speaking, the first or the third option is something that we generally would recommend, right? Let's take the phase approach. You still have time right now. Think about the pilot, think about moving a part of your business to RCA to have some good rollback plan, to understand what to do if something doesn't work out, right? This is definitely a bold option with the flash cutoff, which probably most of the companies should not follow.
Exactly. And as we said, I believe many times today, this is a journey, right? It's not a simple task to be executed. It's a project journey. So just to summarize how we tackle that from end to end, we start with discovery and assessment, just to understand what you have, right? Decide if we reuse the org or start with a fresh. Then we perform the fit gap analysis to align CPQ with RCA features to find what is missing for you and to decide if we standardize or maybe we replicate that. What will be get retired? So that's the set of questions which we need to answer here. The solution design state is about define just future state architecture, our document with source of truth, you have it, and you understand what you will expect from the system in future. The migration planning is another step where we plan together risk and mitigations plans. We decide about going with dedicated approach. Maybe we decide to go with coexistence strategy. This is something which we need together plan, looking on your timelines, on your availability currently, and what we want to achieve at the end. And then the execution enablement part starts. So we are able to build, migrate, and prepare the new users. And this is also worth to consider here if, for example, from some reason, the CPQ adoption was not go well. You can start again, rethink how to do the adoption better. We can help, of course, with that. But in general, this is a good chance here to make your users more engaged with the new system. And then we have, of course, the testing and validation, where you test the system according to your expectation. You provide us the feedback, you check if it suits you or you need more adjustments. And based on that, the decision needs to be made if we sign off the whole part here and we can go forward, or we want maybe to roll back the whole project. And thanks for that, we also are able to prepare some rollback plan during that testing phase. And go live and support is naturally the phase where the system is stabilized. We try to support you when you daily using it. Of course, sometimes you raise some adjustments for us. So what needs to be, maybe something needs to be added still because it's clearly missing. This is the phase where we can fine-tune our system to best just meet your needs. But of course, some pitfalls may come in, and Anya, you can tell from our point of view what we can expect here.
Yes, thank you. I love talking about the risks because I'm also leading a project management practice at Cloudity. So project management is some special place in my heart. Three things kind of quite repeatable and quite probable for a lot of customers that want to migrate. First, excessive CPQ customizations, right? So if your org is a few years old, what we usually see is that there is a lot of customization built for different reasons, because processes could have changed, because new lines of business were open, because CPQ couldn't handle some use cases that your company wanted to handle, and those do not necessarily translate well to RCA. But we also do not necessarily want them to, right? So the right approach for the heavy customization is usually to review it and to simplify it as much as possible, bringing it back to RCA standard to eliminate this technical debt, and this is something that we can help you with. The second one is the poor data quality, which again, over the years, data can become a little bit wonky, sometimes because processes could have changed, sometimes because users get creative, right? So multitude of reasons really, and while this is not always considered when planning a migration project, this is something that needs to be tackled to not really bring the old issues into the new work, the new kind of setup. Right, and we can evaluate it and guide you through it, utilizing also our migration tool. And I see the question. Let me answer it after the third point. And the third is rushed rollout strategy. So again, what I've mentioned before, and this is very important to understand that time is really a precious commodity. Why you have this luxury of having quite a bit of time until CPQ will become fully sunsetted. You should not delay kind of evaluating of the migration and execution of it, right? So maybe you don't need to migrate right now, but think about it, because the planning also usually takes some time, because you want to evaluate different partners, because you want to evaluate different platforms as well, maybe, right? So this is a good moment to really think about it, to make a decision that is best for your company, and then define a good rollout strategy. Think about how to move in a way that is safe for your business, right? And this is again something we can support you with. We can have rollback and contingency plan. We can run the pilots. We can phase the deployment to really execute it in a safe way. And the question I see, can you tell us some common customizations in Steelbrick that RCA has out of the box? Konrad, this is a perfect question for you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. There are some, but first thing which comes into my mind is about the new structure of catalog. So very often in CPQ, you was pretend to build some custom objects around how you want to deal with different catalogs selling from the one quote. So sometimes we know that the blocker was to select the price book entry, and then we were able to select only the products which are assigned to the price book entry. Right now, thanks to this model, which just let us configure the catalogs, you can switch between catalogs and select products to be set as a one quote. So as I show on a demo at the beginning, you are able to mix the different catalogs from perspective of business, like software, hardware, services, and build one offer instead of doing the three quotes. So that's the first thing. The second thing is also what Anya mentioned. So it was not easy to integrate the core CPQ with some other solutions like B2B. As an example, we had a project where our customers expect to have the CPQ catalog and pricing, which would just handle the discounts, and then it will be taken and sent to the B2B just to present this on the screen. So even if there was a connector to connect CPQ to B2B, it not gives us the full flexibility. And right now, because it's on the one platform, you can do so very easily. So that these two examples is worth, I believe, to share. But there are many of them, and if you are interested in, I'm more than happy to discuss with you about that.
Great, thank you. All right, and now I think we can go to the most interesting part as well, the execution of the migration. Please.
Yeah, about execution. So how our tool and in general, different tools can support you when it comes to the migration. So we need to think about 3 levels of migration, because some of them can be automated, some of them can be assisted, and some of them can be manual. Taking automated into consideration, so for most of the companies, the product catalogs, which stores like the options, features, attributes, price lists, of course, and assets are in the good shape, and they can be taken into CPQ and with the automated approach migrated to RCA. And this is exactly what our SFDX harddisk tool have also built in. So we have the dedicated configuration templates, which will support you with that. I will show that in a while. Then you have the assisted migration, where some parts can be automated, but some of them unfortunately requires user intervention, because there are some small differences how the RCA, for example, creates or stores the bundles, or creates and calculates the quotes, orders, or contract pricing. These can be, of course, fetched from the old environment, and then we can migrate that, but we need to make some transitions together using our tool. And the manual, so in general, right now, there are no tool which can support you, because there are differences in that approach. For example, the product rules, pricing rules in CPQ. So there's unique features which influence your product behavior and pricing. Right now in RCA was replaced by the product catalog management features and also pricing procedures. So there are no possibility, at least to one by one migrate that, but our health score will show how to or what these rules are doing, and then we can recreate it in the new world just to meet your need. And as Anya said, right, if some of them are orphaned, then we have a great chance here to decide if we really need that functionality right now.
Yeah, so that's quite important as well. This is a general rule. It's not only about our tool. There are also a couple of paid tools on the market that support the migrations, and those are limitations that apply to all of them. Right, so some of the things cannot be automated. Product rules and pricing rules have technically completely different structure than the features that cover those same functionalities. So we just decided to build something in-house because it makes sense for us to kind of safeguard our projects and make sure that we can do them in kind of a good way and a little bit more cheaper as well. It is what it is. But yeah, Konrad, can you tell us about how the migration tool works?
Of course. So there are like 7 steps which we can repeat anytime when we'll just configure our tool. So first of all, of course, together we can decide what we migrate. If we go with the products, maybe with the product options or quotes, maybe you want to migrate the historical asset. So here on the first step, you're able on the tool to just select what you will be migrating. Then, thanks to our predefined mappings, so something which we built inside this tool, you're able to almost automatically match the old Word CPQ to the new RCA, right? So the attributes between objects and connection between objects, this is something which is already implemented there as a part of the mapping process, and you're able to just select and decide. And if you have not only the standard object, but you have some new fields, so you adjust this model, you're able to also configure that in this predefined mapping section. So you're able to also customize to meet your business expectation, business needs. Then the tool, of course, run the validation of data. So the tool will get the portion of data and try to load into the new environment, and you will clearly see on that level the migration summary. So you will see if it will be successful, if not, what errors you can expect there, and what warnings maybe are worth to be considered and fixed, right? This is something which you can expect on this level. And then if everything is configured as you expect, you have some positive migration summary values, you can just repeat this process anytime you want. So you can go from developer environment to the higher, like QA, from QA to SAT, UAT. So through the whole life cycle of standard project implementation, just to repeat yourself and move the data through the environments.
And we have a question in the chat, Konrad. So what about migrating contracts and subscriptions? So what category would that fall into?
So it's in that case, it's like partially supported. We can just select part of the data, and then with the assisted approach, we are able to put the data in the correct RCA objects, but also some recalculation, some final tune and configuration needs to happen on the RCA side. So that's why the assisted is the best word which support that kind of migration. I hope it answered your question. Okay, if there are no other questions, let's discuss why our tool is different to classic ETL, because probably most of you can wonder what's the difference, right? Or maybe other one can try to understand how long it could take in general to perform such a migration. So comparing to classic ETL, we automate where possible, right? So in classic ETL, for example, schema mapping is done manually, very often in some spreadsheet, right? You need to fulfill a lot of rows, columns, and so on. The same thing happens with the translations. So you need to sometimes have the ETL consultant with your team. He needs to build some custom scripts, some translations, and then you are able to run the test migrations and check how it will work. With our tool, as I said, we automate where possible. So the first two steps, like the schema mapping and transitions, are built in. We are already built that, and you're able to just use that and then perform the migration as I described on the previous slide. So we count it based on that number which you see on the left side, and we expect here to reduce the effort up to 30%, considering this classic ETL. So in other words, the clear benefit for a business is just to go and maybe discuss or decide about the new pricing strategy or the new approval process instead of spending time going with spreadsheet and mapping these things manually. That's the in general our point here.
Yeah, so here probably what's important is that, of course, the cost saving depends on how well kind of your structure is currently built, right? Is this a good idea to keep what you have right now, or is it highly customized, and then probably it makes sense to rebuild it? So in this case, for the customers that, for example, have CPQ for a year or two, so quite a short amount of time, that would be a perfect kind of case to migrate through this tool, because most likely you don't really have a lot of technical debt. Most likely your business haven't really changed that much, so we can just take the product catalog, for example, and just map it to RCA and have it done, right? It's easier, it's safer this way because it's fully automated. Yeah, at the end of the day, this is a tool that's our own in-house build. We don't charge license cost for it, so it's a very fair price of 0, just something that we use during our projects. And yeah, that was it that we prepared for today. We are well in time, so we have some time for Q&A as well. If you have any questions in general about RCA, about our experience specifically, about the migration approaches, anything you might be interested in, that would be a good moment to ask. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Okay, so what about the manual processes and why is it still so complex? Why is it complex? Because technically it is quite a different tool, right? So the structure is so different than, while part of the things can be migrated, like the product catalog, for example, like configuration-wise. right? The rest of it cannot really be migrated. It has to be rebuilt. So there's no, unfortunately, magic button, even though we wished there were one. But there's none. So what generally needs to be done, depending on how kind of great your technical depth is, how much you are happy with your current setup. An example, please.
Yeah, so as an example, maybe with this manual process, because we've written down this product pricing rules as an example, right? So even Salesforce thought that CPQ implementation of product and pricing rules, so storing everything on a record level and then execute the engine, was maybe too hard to understand, not easy for product managers to handle that, understand and manage. So they decide to go with the new tool, which is more graphical representing tool, very similar to the flows, where you can select the blocks and choose which of the block will do. If will apply the discount, apply the pricing, or maybe you will use the custom formula there just to calculate something and apply on the list price. So that's why in general it's the manual process heavy, because as Anya said, there are no like magic button to convert that record word from CPQ into the new tool with a new graphical representation, right? That's why on the one hand side, we need to look back and understand what you have there just to mimic that functionality. But on the other hand, you have also ability to understand on your own and decide if not all of them are right now necessary, or maybe some of them are just orphaned, right? So that's like good and pros and cons of the situation, I would say.
Thank you for your question. Somebody else is writing. That's a good question, Konrad.
Very good question. I don't think it's harder. They like the RCA deployment, of course, when it comes to amount of metadata and data, is bigger than CPQ. So in CPQ, you start with the metadata deployment, then you migrate the data. But here in RCA, there are, of course, in the background, some new other metadata, like the context definitions or other like that. So in practical way, it's not harder, but this is something which you need to learn and understand how to do it properly. So it's a new word which you can adapt. It's not something which, majorly increase your daily routine. At the beginning, of course, it's maybe you need to spend more time, like 2 or 3 hours, just to understand the dependencies between them. But I believe the Salesforce produced a very good documentation about metadata coverage API. So you are able to, figure out on your own, or if you need, you can also ask us. We can help with that. We have already 2 projects which we deploy using the either hard disk or other tools. So we have a quite extensive here knowledge.
You also have much wider kind of selection of tools now you can use with it, right? Because previously the whole kind of CPQ configuration, those were based on records. Right now we have like metadata. It is an on-core version, just as Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, for example. Right. So now you also have a little bit more of a freedom of the tools you can use, because instead of just purely records, which was kind of quite complicated from the perspective of deployments and especially CI/CD. Now it's much easier. And the question: does RCA is fully supported via the API?
That's our, I believe, the functionality which we love most, because in CPQ there was some gaps when it comes to APIs, so not all of the operations was supported. That's why sometimes you struggle with the integrating CPQ with other systems. With RCA, Salesforce even invented in the API first, which means that you have like standard REST API, which is available per each of the object, plus business-wise API, which give you opportunity to, for example, paste the quote or create the order, or you can even, just query the pricing engine and it will calculate prices for you. So very often, thanks to the new APIs, you are able to, integrate your B2B commerce store and just send the products with quantities back to RCA, and the RCA can do for you the heavy lifting, so calculate the price and return the price for you. And this is something which was already built like as a part of the new RCA improvements. And there is also quite extensive documentation, so I encourage you to look on it. It was super nice.
And of course, the common use case integration with ERP. Pretty much every single org is integrated with ERP that uses CPQ. So for CPQ, it was a pain and a half sometimes. Definitely much easier in RCA. So that's a nice one. And can we share more about the AI readiness of RCA, Konrad?
Of course, yeah. About ACA readiness, I believe the most interesting case right now, which Salesforce showing, is the fact that you can go with configuration, build an agent, which will take what sales rep will type and then construct a quote. So I encourage you to look on the official materials. There was a lot of examples how you can build a quote instead of clicking, just typing the text, and Salesforce with Agentforce AI will do the rest. So we have also like the 2 or 3 projects where we working on that right now, and the results look promising. And for now, I know for future in the roadmap there are other functionalities which will be supported. So for example, functionalities about creating the contracts, redlining the contracts using the Agentforce AI will happen, right?
All right, thank you for your question. I don't think any more are coming. So thanks everyone for joining and staying with us till the end as well. We really appreciate it. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact. You can see our emails here. Yeah, thanks so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.